Great.
Catch me up to speed. What's happening in your life?
Dude, I love it. First of all, you're in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, on the road, calling from the East Coast. We're global now, bro.
Worldwide, as they say. Mr. Jacob Worldwide. Are you on the Jersey Shore? Like I hear
I
it's
mean,
very nice.
my family moved to it's more like northern Jersey. They moved here a couple years ago. And so
Short
I'm
Hills.
here for like what's that?
Short Hills.
Nah.
See, Dr. Evil voice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Um nah, dude. I yeah, like I'm just here on family vacation. We're all catching up. I'll be doing a cruise in like all next week.
A
Catching up with
boat
fam,
cruise.
boat cruise.
Fascinating. Where are you going? Impractical Jokers cruise.
Of course. It's like all East Coast, like Boston, Nova Scotia.
Mm, the hot summer spots.
Exactly, bro. It's kind of weird, but everyone's
Oh yeah.
it'll be fun.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good for you, dude. You get to sit back a little bit.
Yeah, dude. But bro, I'm gonna be working. I'm still hustling. I'll be writing
All right.
scripts early at the
Don't
water.
stop. Don't stop. You can't keep up those
Can't
Instagram
stop. Can't
stories about
stop. Won't
hustling,
stop.
and if the hustle
That's
stops,
right. Got to be
you're gonna
authentic,
get right at
bro. 24/7.
what it's all about. Bro, I funny little developments. So we kind of like kicked into gear the value mentality at least this week. A lot of nice little stuff in general, but um, I like first of all we're working with these two girls that are our friends. I call them our interns slash ambassadors slash models.
Yeah.
Um, and they've just
Models
been
too.
oh big time.
Left that out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they did this photo shoot with us and it was so fun and just working my camera more and like just dialing it in and it's all we got these grainy photos, they look beautiful. And we've just they started with reaching out to influencers for me. They sent us a list of 10 influencers to reach out to for me and Tanner. I went from there and I started getting better at like finding more and more influencers. For instance, there's this one girl that has 4.4 million followers. And she was one of like 10 that I reached out to that were like giant celebrities that I
Yeah.
had no intent or no
Bro, these
like,
are stars. Why limit
yeah,
yourself? You don't know until you ask.
exactly. And well, of those people that have millions of followers that are like giant celebrities, actually, a lot of these giant celebrities probably only have like 1 or 2 million. This girl has 4.4 million. And most of them, like, it comes back and says this person isn't receiving messages. Or they'll say on their bio, message or email this person for business inquiries. This girl I just DM'd, like not thinking twice about it, and she responds and says, "LOL, I'm in like Valley for life," and I'm just like,
Yeah.
and it all goes down. I sent her a hat, bro. She just wanted a hat. I said zip up, whatever. I would have given her my house if I could, but she said, watching my clothing consumption, just a hat. So, and I didn't know what I mean, between us, I didn't really know what she was from. I thought maybe she was like on the Bachelor's. I knew she was huge, and you don't just casually get that huge. You might have like a couple hundred
Bro.
thousand from like being in Instagram early or
But
something, but
millions, you can't fake that. Like
can't fake the
it's
4
some
million,
yeah,
4.4.
yeah. Did you
And
find out
so
where she's from? We're not gonna name drop, but
I know I'd prefer
folks.
not to name drop just to keep
Yeah,
the
of
the
course,
ability.
bro. Of course.
Yeah, but you never know.
But
I
like
normally do like
broad,
to name.
but like broad strokes. Is it bachelor stuff? Like
So it's not. She was one of so all right, the story, I'll wrap it up and this will explain it. So I bring up to one of the girls at my day job. I go, hey, so this girl responded and she seems great. Like, but have you ever heard of her? And she goes, what? That girl? I grew up on her videos. She was like a huge YouTuber. And
oh
like speaking of which, and she would do all these like demonstration videos that went to, like psycho viral,
yeah.
massive. So much so that it translated to Instagram and she's giant on Instagram
Cool.
now. So I don't know if she's gonna wear the hat on a video, if she's just gonna wear it in general, but she's been looking at her stories and she's so kind. That's one. Then we
Big
have
win.
more. We have more. That's a huge win, and just like a learning experience of what's possible when you
Dude,
like.
and I just want to speak to that real quick.
Yeah,
When I was talking about people we were reaching out to and everything, my approach, you were first like shocked at like how I was able to like talk, just like reach out to people and then they're down to do our podcast, whatever. Like we don't have numbers. And it's just a matter of asking, bro. And I think I got that from like, I would, when I first got to LA,
yeah.
I reached out, I got like 100 drinks with people through the industry just to like kind of get an understanding of the industry, whatever. And it's like people are way more receptive than you think. Even if you get, I mean, when you get to a certain level, you're going to remember what it was like being at that spot. Or maybe there's something interesting about that person that's reaching out or whatever. Like she might, yeah, she connects with the valley, something you never know. So it's always worth the ask. There's no
It
harm.
is worth the ask, and it's not easy to ask. Like even sending the like thing is not. It's time consuming. So I give a lot of credit to people that hit the ground running like you. I mean, I don't even know how I would be able to reach out to 100 people to get drinks. That being said, so
You reached out to 10.
what?
You reached out to 10. You just told me you had
Well,
a
I've been
list of
doing
like
that
10
now.
people.
I've done like 40. Now I've done
Yeah,
like 40.
there you go. So
I
it's like once you get it rolling, it's like no big deal.
well, the 10 was one thing. Then it was like hard to do another three. But I figured it out. And then that led to thinking about doing more and then try just sitting with it. Same thing as writing, same thing as doing anything creative. You got to sit with it. You got to think about it. You got to, just keep pushing forward in one way, shape, or form, putting in time. And so now is the big one. You're going to like this. We got to do it for Hollywood Beginnings too. But I reached out to this giant director. Sick. And he responds, says, "Hello, I'd love to. I'd love to wear a hat." And I'm just like, this
Yeah.
is psycho. What? And then we asked, like, okay, what address do we send it to? And doesn't respond for a while. I follow up, say, hey, just check it in. Like, we can send you anything, by the way, too. And he goes, thanks for following up. I'm on a trip right now, but I really appreciate it, and I'll get back to you. And we just said, like, look forward to hearing from you. And I'll follow up soon. But I've since looked at his stories. He is on a trip. Sick director.
Unreal.
Yeah, he's gonna be like the next. He's like a Paul Thomas Anderson type. A24 movies, Academy Award nominated movies. Who knows, dude? This guy, if we vibe and he likes Valley Mentality, it's everything I talked about. Like we get him on the. I think I actually reached out to him to get on the podcast a while back too. And you never know. This is the type of person you end up making movies with. But that would be fucking interesting. And
Not
then
Ari Aster, is it? You said a 20.
no, it's not as
All right,
like
all right. No, no,
he's
no name dropping. No name dropping.
right.
I
He's
had to
not as I'll tell you after specific, but he's not as like famous of a personality as Ari Aster, but he's like right there.
yeah, cool.
Yeah. That being
Dude,
said,
you know what's so brilliant about this? It's like this podcast. It's another angle besides you being
yeah,
like, yo, I'm an actor, hire me.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
here's this extra interesting layer that you can approach.
Dude, the casting director told Matthew McConaughey, who hired him for Dazed and Confused, when he came out here, he said, I'm not sending you out to agents yet as an actor. You'll reek of desperation. Go like around the world and become like a director. Tell me you're a director instead. That'll be more like you'll come off more interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
And like I totally get a sense that it's still like that. Grass is always greener on the other side, like anyway. And then Tanner finally reached out to this kid Fibula, who's like famous comedian. He lives in Venice. He's huge. And it turns out he's been a fan the whole time. And he's done 3 posts. Just now is the third one. And he did the second one this morning of wearing Valley Mentality hats.
Wow.
And he's huge. So it's like, I don't think we've even gotten any follows from it somehow. I don't know what glitch is happening.
Yeah.
Because I would think this guy's audience is down for the Valley.
Yeah.
And like they're like Valley people and stuff too. So the vibes are up though, pushing. Because I think this influencer thing is like the ticket.
Agree, bro. 100%.
Yeah. So doing that, and so that's very exciting. On the acting front, I just met with my acting coach just now, and it's fun. Didn't have an audition, but we worked on material that he sent me, and
What was the
I
material?
didn't I didn't act last week. What's that?
What was the material?
It was two scenes from like a comedy TV show. Good scenes though, actually. And it was funny because I went in, I didn't work on anything last week, and I was just thinking to myself, like, what are we gonna do with this? Is this really gonna be worth my time? You know, I didn't memorize the lines or anything, so how well can you really do the moments if you're like kind of heads in the page? And he's a good coach because he immediately was like, all right, we're gonna make the most out of this. We're gonna stage this as if it's like a cold reading in an audition. So let's see what you do with it. And because that happens sometimes, they like give you those sides on the spot, especially for commercials, but they'll tell you walk outside and come in and do it. And he gave me some pointers immediately, like what to do going in. And bro, I did good. We had a lot of fun. And the biggest thing with him that I'm learning, he's like, you're always good, but to get the job, it's about personalizing it and really understanding each line. Because I've noticed for myself, for instance, that sometimes if I don't know like, if I don't know the meaning behind every little beat of the scene or why every single thing's there, I'll get caught off guard by a line I'm supposed to say or what I'm supposed to say, and like,
Yeah.
and I'm reading it,
Mm.
and I kind of just go to a default like how I would act in that moment. Kind of naturally, I do that, but sometimes that is not necessarily right for like what's on the line. So uh, it's just like with him chiseling away at that specificity for me so that like it's really reacting to what the person just gave off, like what just happened, like genuinely reacting in those circumstances, and then being in that circumstance, not like acting or playing something up or doing a voice, but like, you know, she just confided in me, and rather than coming back strong, it's like what would my character feel about her confiding in me? I would be kind of appreciative, and kind of now I kind of get a little softer and more intimate, and like I say my thing in kind of like an intimate way, and so it's becoming more grounded in circumstances acting. That's, you got to just keep chiseling away and knowing the circumstances, grounding yourself in it, bringing clarity to it, and it's the really top actors I assume are better at doing that quicker. They can do that really quicker, drop in. They're not going to be masking as much and forcing, but I'm right there.
I love how disciplined you are on the craft of this
I
because
will take that compliment.
even
Continue.
dude, yeah, I'll continue. The thing is, you're not at the place you want to be yet, but you're so disciplined about like making it incredibly natural and really being there. And like you need it's like a double hander. You need that luck aspect of like right place, right time, right connect, whatever, which is gonna happen, that
Yeah.
opportunity.
Oh, sure.
But like you're at this moment, you're like it like everything you're saying to me makes total sense. And it's like
Mhm.
it's like the final turn of the screw, you know? Like I
Mm.
once like to have something be good, you gotta like turn the screw to a certain degree, but it's
Yeah.
great. It's like those last few twists are the fucking hardest in terms of,
Yeah.
and like that's where you're at right now. I feel like you're really like gunning for that excellence.
Great.
And I really appreciate that. Cause like, dude, a lot of people they kind of skate by and they're like, yeah, you know, like when it happens, it happens. And then their acting is like kind of shitty, whatever. And that doesn't carry you, it doesn't carry longevity. Like I think you're prepped for when that moment strikes. It's like you've got all the tools in the toolbox. You're really honed in there. I think just continue what you're doing, bro. Everything sounds great.
Dude, I appreciate hearing that from you. That it's great to hear out loud. Thank you for pointing that out. And I don't even know, like I made the goals and I keep telling myself like the classic self-help stuff, like good is the enemy of great. You know, just because you're there, and mentally, it's a virtue of mine to like sit back and not hold on tight or anything. So it's like be at peace mentally, but also you have to strive, and and sometimes there's not anything seemingly to strive at. So you can always work on your craft. You can always work on this and that. But even with the craft stuff, like I didn't have a coach for a while. This guy, it was like by fate, just happened to kind of fall into place, and he's like, I'll help you out. And once you book something, pay me extra. And the reality though is that I think these days, especially, yeah, like if I was 23, 24, I got on the set and I was just good and I knew what I was doing, yeah, I'd skate by and I'd probably get a lot better because there's a high standard on these big TV shows, big production value stuff. But 30 years old, like you got, I think these days it's so competitive. You kind of have to be balls to the wall. And
yeah,
yeah,
sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Finish your thought.
no, I like this. Go.
Gotta stay sharp because the great moments that you remember, like what's that kid that died that was fucking incredible, who was like 22 years old? He died in like 1980. You know what I'm talking about? What's his face? The one who's like Stella or whatever. That's
James
not the one.
Dean. James
Huh?
Dean. James
Yeah,
Dean.
James Dean. Yeah, obviously. That kid was so sharp and he had the role, like you remember these specific moments because he was teed up with a role that was perfect for him at that time and he was ready for that moment. And the actors that you remember, like bro, there are certain, like think of the most famous actors, you remember them for specific moments, like De Niro, Al Pacino, Leo DiCaprio. Like
Totally.
there are these slivers of moments that you remember.
Beautiful writing.
Yeah,
Beautiful writing. And a
exactly.
lot of De Niro stuff, especially, has been like improvised. Scorsese movies, they're improvising a lot.
Yeah, true. But I
And
mean,
but that creates great moments. Yeah.
exactly. And the improv comes from great scripts. Like they
Yeah.
wouldn't have those circumstances without those scripts.
The circumstances are what we love.
Yeah,
It's rich stories, usually from books.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, bro. And what a shame if you weren't prepped for that moment. That could be like a career defining moment that everyone remembers. You got to be sharp.
You got to be sharp, and sometimes you lose out anyway, no matter how prepped you are, right? But or the editing goes bad, and you end up like not looking
Yeah,
that good.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Everything has to line up. But like if you're not ready,
But you got to do your part.
exactly. Exactly. That's why I love filmmaking because I feel like the orchestrator of like every single moment has to tee up perfectly to have those perfect moments. And that's what I love is like being there, kind of manipulating every, like pulling every string, allowing everyone to bring their best work. But like if I don't have the actor bringing their best work and they don't have those decades of experience behind them where they've just been sharp on their craft, we're not going to get that moment.
Yeah. The funny thing is that like when I think even those Lifetime movies where I've had bigger parts, there's nothing to it. It's like if you're just really trying to be in those circumstances, understand how that person would be and trying to bring light to that and stuff, and then you're just not letting the person across from you catch you acting, like really just that's what came across to me. And I told you the entire way. It's like I'm like, oh shit, no, these people literally seem like the scene is like it's real. It's freaking real for a moment. And if you do something that's like pre-rehearsed, that's like not reacting right to what just happened in front of you, you're like thinking about stuff as the actor, you kind of get exposed, is how I felt.
Yeah.
And so you're just on your game so much to like just be living and breathing and genuinely be reacting. And then it starts to become a little bit more, and I noticed this today even when we were working, you start to have thoughts that are like what you'd have in real life. In real life, you're like self-conscious. You're like, if I'm like with a friend or something and they say something kind of funny and I go like that, I'm like, why did I just do that with my hands? That's okay to have those same thoughts and like just try to come from that place, I think.
Dude, Jack Nicholson is my favorite actor of all time. In The Shining, there's this moment, you've seen The Shining. There's this
Yeah,
moment
it's one of my
in the
favorites.
bathroom, in that red bathroom, where he like makes a face like this. Like he's talking to Grady, that butler guy, and he's just, it's like this instinct
in the
that
bar,
there's that moment,
in
but
the
there's
ghost bar.
there's the ghost bar, but there's even a crazier fucking facial expression in the bathroom. Yeah, dude, love that moment. But there's this moment in the bathroom where he's there, he's like listening to him, and he's so, bro, he's so ready for that moment. And that's something that I know, like, yeah, it's Stanley Kubrick, but like he brought that moment. And like there's that moment in The Departed where he brings out a gun, and he, like, the way that he intimidates Leo in the moment and all this shit. It's like he's so on the cutting edge. And that's a deep level of acting that I hardly see.
Well,
And
that's like
he's great.
that. I mean, I just to put Tanner in the same combo as those actors. That audition that Tanner just did, I mean, I was
Yeah.
so taken aback by like how drawn into each moment he was.
Yeah.
Like he was
Yeah.
super like, it took something that like was on the page and that I had the audition of as well, and then he made it seem like a totally different story to me. Like, but so earned, and he said the same thing as me. He goes, "It's all in the text. I understood every little thing inside and out." And it was because of that clarity that he committed extra hard to things that were really coming to life. Like, I was like, damn, Tanner, like you talked to someone in the other room as if it was like really there. I didn't even get that from the script because I didn't know it well enough. He's like, oh yeah, no, it said that. So like, I had that over there. And then when she said, and like the point is he committed to a whole world. And I just know the people that are watching it are going to be so appreciative that you
Exactly.
bring this richness to it and stuff.
Exactly.
And so it's about investing into the creativity, the imagination, doing all this stuff. And then ideally you get the vision of what the filmmakers want. And then, yeah, I mean, today the coach was saying, he's like, dude, if you miss that aspect of that line and you just like force a response, and you're not like really tuned in to what's happening and playing it how it would be in that situation in real life, then you're going to miss the moment. Because they teed you up, the writers, as it's supposed to be this. And that, if you're just reacting for real to those circumstances, it's a beautiful little thing. So you have to be privy to that. Because once you hit that or make it better, then that's how you get the job, because you understand the vision.
It's just not skating by on like 70% effort.
Yeah.
And I can tie it back to my own shit too, because
Yeah.
before, in my shorts, I admit it, bro, a lot of it, especially when I was on the weekly cycle like a year ago, it was more about just because the schedule's so intense, it was just getting by 70%. And I was like, yo, like, let me just throw something together. It's kind of scary a little bit in this moment, whatever. Now I've got such a detailed, it takes so much more time and effort. But even in my POV shorts that I'm about to put out, it's like every moment when I'm on set, when I'm editing, all the sound effects, like I just got back to my sound guy and I was like, remove these 3 seconds of like background music from this moment because it changes the emotion of
the
it.
rhythm, and
yeah, the rhythm, bro. And you also, that's also a craft thing too. Like the longer you do this stuff, the more you can identify like what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
But it's really just shifting it up to that like 90, 100%. And that makes all the difference, bro. That's what pops a short off from like 1,000 views to like 100K and beyond. It's like people notice that shit. It's like you're then on the edge, and you're on the front line of innovation in this craft and in this genre. And like that's what we got to do, bro. We're on the
beautiful
front
place to be.
If we actually want to push ahead and be the tastemakers, put in that extra effort.
And I hated so much when I was like psyched out of acting, like 5 years ago or whatever. And I was like, it felt like there's such a disconnect between what I was doing in bad acting classes and what I saw in movies of like beautiful life unfolding before you, at least in drama, or like in a comedy. It was like the funny, like in Seinfeld or Curb Your Enthusiasm, such funny, detailed slices of life. And like seeing that unravel that, like, I was like, where's the disconnect? But now I'm there, now you're there. And it's like making these really insightful little things and being able to portray them. It's like it is pretty cool.
I think we've always had this appetite for like making great shit, but you
Yeah.
don't really lock into that and you don't get to that deeper level of actually executing on it until you've been doing it for long enough. Like we didn't really know until this point, but we've always wanted to be this great. It's just like, and I'm also not like blowing smoke up our ass. I'm more saying like before we didn't really know what it took in order to get that result, and now we're finally like threading that needle from where we were at before to like now we're going for excellence. Now we're turning that screw to that like 10th degree. It's like that's what it takes.
100%. My dad has a giant standard for acting, and like he'll knock actors and some of my cousins. I mean, I come from a long family of
Yeah.
performers and on Broadway since they're 8 years old and stuff. That so they have a psycho high standard that sometimes in the past I've been like, dude, don't speed so hard on actors and stuff. If they're on TV, they're doing something like decently right. And I do, like we've talked about, like I do get on some level, like my dad when he gets a part, he's not just a pretty face or whatever. He's a character actor. He gets underneath it. And like he'll call out like, it's not the hottest take, but like when they call out NCIS and these procedural shows that are, it seems like the actors are just robotic going through the motions. He's like, they don't seem like they're underneath the part
That's
and really commanding the
that's
moments
it.
and what you'd be doing in
Yeah.
real life. They're just putting it. And Tanner in that audition was underneath it. He knew every little thing so that he got to really not chew up the scenery necessarily, but like he was living and enjoying those moments.
That's it. And people and audiences want to feel like they're in the hands of someone who has full command of their
Ryan Reynolds always seems like he does, for starters, but yeah, go on.
totally. Or they want to feel like they're in the hands of a director who has full control or full command of the material. There's a lot of films that are put out where you feel like they were just riding by the seat of their pants. Probably producers were talking in their ear.
Most of them.
Most of them, 100%. And you can feel it, bro. There's a different feeling about the film. And people, you know, that's just what separates like excellent shit from stuff that's just kind of mediocre that people forget
The
about.
new Star Wars, by the way, like most of these giant films that are like, I think they sacrifice performances and stuff because it's such a big film. And obviously they try not to, but compare that to like Moonlight,
Yep.
or like I was thinking about today, Train Spotting. Train Spotting took a slice of life about people in Scotland that happen to be heroin addicts, but they were also perfect as the lads from down the street that are talking about James Bond and Miss Moneypenny and going clubbing and all that stuff. And I think there's a higher standard. There's a huge book first that captures a slice of life. These people are so specific and clear that there's like an obligation to really capture it well. I mean, because yeah.
It is, man.
So
It's our responsibility to deliver if we get these opportunities. Yo, I gotta head in like a minute, but I'm
okay.
gonna be off for the next week. So what are you gonna be up to in the next 2 weeks before we meet?
Oh, dude, I got a pickleball tournament this weekend.
Hey, come on,
Naturally,
bro. Well rounded. I love it.
that's me. Yeah, man. Super hyped.
There's this
You?
person, like a
You're
family
doing a cruise.
friend who sold pickleball equipment. Like they got in there in like 2020 or something when that spike just started taking off.
Yeah.
Now all their merchandise and shit is in like Target and like like they're just fucking cleaning up.
They've cleaned up.
Cleaned up, bro. Because like that whole trend, they just caught it at the very beginning of the wave, and now everyone's crazy about it.
They say it's the hottest sport of the summer.
Yeah.
But that's interesting to hear because I'm seeing a couple companies now just try to jump into pickleball, and they're literally just like rebranding tennis clothes and calling it pickleball clothes, which like I don't blame them. But is that
Yeah.
what your company is too? Is it basically just sports clothes that's rebranded?
I think it's like it's mostly equipment.
Okay.
Yeah. But I
Dude,
mean, these guys who are trying to enter the game, like they're too late now, bro. The wave has passed, you know?
I don't think so though. I
Oh,
think
really? It's
yeah,
going.
I think it's gonna be like psycho. Yeah.
Bro, that's wild. We got to play sometime. I want to learn.
Dude, you got to. You got to because we're playing with the biggest people in Hollywood. I'm not even kidding. Like we're gonna be playing with DiCaprio. DiCaprio plays. McConaughey just got a team.
Wow, dude.
and we're playing with their coaches and stuff. So my dad's the #1 player of the over 50s.
I love it, man.
So we gotta play.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Good work. Keep on those influencers, bro. A lot of big wins this week. That's wild.
It really is, man.
4 mil. Holy shit.
I can't even compute. I don't know what's happening. No one knows what this stuff's worth yet. If it's like this or that. But dude, you're the man. Thanks for the support. I appreciate you saying stuff.
You too, bro. It's good seeing you. Always.
You too, brother. Always. Peace.
Bye.